Well, good evening, family, and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk About It. We are a weekly live streaming talk show that is streamed on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously, where we talk about issues that are relevant to our community. So if you're watching us this evening on Facebook, we ask that you will like our page, also share it with your friends and family. And then also you can submit to us your comments. We're able to read and see your comments live as you send them in. And so why don't you do that for those who are on Facebook? For those who are viewing us by way of our YouTube channel, we are grateful that you are a part of us. We ask that you subscribe to our channel. Also, click the little bell so that you will get an alert every time that we come on. We normally do our broadcast on Thursdays, each Thursday at 8 p.m. However, we do occasionally do things where we do things throughout the week for special events and special occasions. And so we are grateful that you've taken the time to share with us. We have a special guest with us this evening, another person who has been instrumental in the community, a community activist who is doing a lot of positive things and has been doing so for over the years. Just before we get into our show this evening, let us take time to reflect and give homage to those persons who were affected by the explosion, as we did on last week, the explosion on off of Ricerstown Road near Labyrinth. At least two persons lost their lives, a young man and a young lady, and also several others were placed in the hospital. So our prayers and condolences go out to those who lost their lives, as well as our prayers for strength and recovery for those persons who were hospitalized and injured, but then also we are sending prayers out for those who were emotionally affected. Their homes were destroyed, property was damaged, and we are praying for them. We are also praying for support for those first line workers, the persons who are assisting in the restructuring, the cleanup efforts, the support needed that's needed for each of them, those providing food and resources, and even for the volunteers. And so our prayers and support are with each of them. And so we always want to be mindful of those who are feeling the effects of traumatic situations that have happened and that have been caused to them, even through no act of their own. And so we're grateful to God for Him being as good as He is. As you know, we're always pushing our one of our platforms, which is voter registration. As you know, the deadline to register to vote, to be able to vote in the general election, which is on the November the 3rd. The deadline to register is October the 19th. It's the last day to register, and your registration must be postmarked by the end of the day. However, you do not have to send in a physical registration form. You can go to usa.gov and you can register to vote right on the line. And so we are encouraging you to do that. And then also, as you know, there's been a lot said about problems with the post office and all kinds of things going on. And so we encourage you, if you have not already done so, please request a mail in or absentee ballot. And soon as you get it, we ask that you will complete it and mail it back. We are not trusting the trickery and all of the things that are going to be, that we're already seeing happening as it relates to the post office. So we encourage you to take the time to do what is necessary so that we can make sure that every vote is counted and every voice is heard. Now, for those who have been watching the DNC convention, and I've been watching much of it, and as you know, last night our former president Barack Obama gave his address. Certainly, he was powerful and to the point. But one of the things that he said in his address was, "Don't wait. Begin now planning your strategy for what you're going to do." And so, what we have done is we have come up with the term. You've heard of the movie or watched the movie, The Dirty Dozen. Well, we have come up with the voting dozen. The voting dozen. What does that mean? That means that we are trying to make sure that each of us, becomes a committee of 12. So that means we want at least 12 people to make sure that we get them registered if they're not, and also get them to the polls so they can vote either by mail in voting or early voting or whatever. But we want to make sure that we do that which is necessary. So your 12, your voting 12, will consist of four family members. Four family members. We ask that you encourage and make sure that four family members vote. And then we're looking for four coworkers, the persons that you work with, or maybe you're not working now, but a former coworkers that you have been still in communication with. So that's four family members and four coworkers. Four and four, for those who can count, is four and four is eight. And then we have four more. We're looking for two seniors and two young people. That would be another four. So our voting dozen will consist of four family members, four co-workers, and two seniors and two young people. That will be your dozen. And so we are encouraging you to do so, so that we can make sure that every vote counts. Make sure that we get our votes in. And if you would like more information on that, certainly you're welcome to email us at yes, let's talk about it, the number one at gmail.com. That's yes, let's talk about it at gmail.com. So we are trying our best to make sure that we are able to do the things that are necessary to be relevant to our community. We're happy to have with us Dr. Davis, who is our co-host, and he has been under the weather a little bit and has had a lot of things that he's been doing with his church, family members of persons in the church. Dr. Davis, welcome back.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you letting me get back on. I've been out for a while and trying to get this body and stuff right, but thank the Lord, I'm back and I'm holding on, sir.
Holding on. Well, we tried to hold it down while you were out. It was a tough job, but somehow we made it
I
through.
appreciate it. I doubt it was that hard, brother. Not the way you handle things.
Well, we are grateful that God has blessed us to be able to do some things. So we trust that your family as well. We know that you had some members in your family had passed away, and we trust that so far everything is coming around.
Yes, so far the Lord is blessed, and we had a member that passed away down in Virginia, but by the grace of God, everybody's doing well.
All right, all right. So, well, we've got a good show coming up this evening. We have a special guest who has been involved in the community, Mr. George White. He has worked in the community, he's worked in the church, he has assisted with various areas. And so we are grateful to God for him. We want to welcome him to the show. Mr. George White, welcome to Let's Talk About It.
Yeah, so yeah, thank you for inviting me, and again, just thank you, Reverend Mason and Dr. Davis, for allowing me just to be a part of your group tonight.
Well, we're
God
so
bless
happy
you.
to have you with us. It is always good when we can bring together individuals of like minds, and especially persons who have been able to do things in the community. Why don't you just share with our audience a little bit? I know we have your bio, and I'm not going to read that. But why don't you tell our listening, viewing audience a little bit about yourself and some of the things that you have been doing?
Okay, that's good. I kind of start with, a lot of times they say you are a reflection of your parents. And ever since I was, I guess, around the age of 12, and I grew up in the city, Pennsylvania, Fulton, grew up in that area. And my parents kind of always got me involved with community activities. My mom, she was a mover and shaker in the community, and she got me involved. And my pop was, but mom was really the one who kind of made me do things. A lot of times we do things we don't want to do, but in the end, it all works out. But as she was volunteering and helping out the church, she had me doing stuff. And then over the years, she got involved with local politics, just being a community person. She got me involved with that. And then after a while, it just kind of gets in your blood. And it's just something that you do. So as I got older, and I moved, now I live in Pikesville, but I've been out here now about 30 years. But you begin to continuously do the same things that you did. You help the community out, and I always have a saying. We always say they ought to do something, but then you realize you are they. So
Right.
you begin to do things, and then after a while, people say, "Well, how can I help you?" And then you just kind of say, "Well, you do this, I'll do that," and then before you know it, you have a whole community working on different things at different times.
Yes, sir. Now, you also have worked as a professor at the college. I believe it was Essex Community
Right.
College.
I started at Essex Community College, and then I moved and I transferred to Test College when it was Test. Then
Oh,
Fortis Institute, I wound up going there as well. Okay, my background is IT, so there's information technology, but you guys are well aware of that. But it's I taught at those schools,
okay.
and
So
okay.
how did you get involved in the community? I know you said your mom kind of pushed you to do some things and working along with her and the family. But how did you actually get your hands wrapped around being a community activist or pushing in the community?
Well, you start off just helping your neighborhood out.
Hmm.
And after a while, your neighbors come to you and say, George, you should run for something, do something. And you say, well, no, I'm just kind of doing this. But and they say, well, this is what we need. And then I began to work on things that way. And then the local church, the church I joined, I used to talk to the pastor about doing certain things, and he said, well, just do it. So I began to organize giveaways. And then I said, my wife and I, we were talking one day, and we found out that we had a lot of stuff that we could give away, clothes, maybe canned goods that we didn't eat ourselves.
Hmm.
So we started a ministry ourselves called Connect the Dots.
Okay.
So we began to just connect people with stuff. If somebody wanted to give away something, they'd call us and say, look, I want to give away a bunch of clothes. They give it to us, and we knew places to give it to.
Okay.
Okay. And as a matter of fact, once a lady called us and gave us a car. She said, I got a car I want to give away. Do you know anybody that need a car? So I stood up at church and said, who needs a car? And the hand went up. So you find, so you find, once you start doing things, you find people that need things.
Right.
And it kind of grew now. My daughter, she used to manage 5 Panera Breads stores.
Okay.
So one day I asked her, this was about 4 years ago. I said, what do you guys do with your old bread? She said, well, Pop, we give that away. So I said, well, dang, how can I get some? She said, well, contact the corporate office, go through your church, which I did.
Hmm.
You contact the corporate office. They have a program called End of Day. They
Okay.
spell it END, and they spell the donation. They spell it like the bread dough.
Right.
but it's the end of day donation program. So I contacted the headquarters, and 4 years ago, they say, okay, well, we'll put you on a list for a store. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Wegmans, where
Yeah.
Wegmans Market is.
Yeah.
Well, in that area, there's a Panera Bread. So once
Right.
that Panera Bread opened 4 years ago, they assigned that store to us. So 5 days a week, 5 days a week. I started 3 days a week, just picking up the end of day bread and delivering it to homeless shelters, food pantries, people that I knew, churches. And then and that was Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And then I found out that somebody wasn't picking up on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and the store would throw the bread away. So
Wow.
they asked me, say, George, you want these other 2 days? And me and my wife prayed on it, and I said, well, why not? So now, for probably the last 3 years or so, I've been picking up 5 days a week bread that I deliver to homeless shelters from Baltimore County to Baltimore City.
Okay.
They give me the bread and desserts as well.
Okay. All right. Well, we're certainly familiar with that. As you know, I've shared with you before in our communication. I am a member of Israel Baptist Church in Baltimore City in East Baltimore, and as well as we have a outreach center, Maddie B. Uzzle Outreach Center, which is across the street, and we do all kinds of outreach programs. In fact, today they did another fresh vegetables and fruit food giveaway.
Okay.
Then also before the pandemic hit, we had a food outreach where we did. They called it Soup Kitchen, but we only served soup since I've been a part of it only one time in the last 4 years or so, where each Thursday we would provide a home cooked meal and provided for anyone who came in to eat. And so, and much of the bread that we receive, even from the Maryland Food Bank, comes from Panera Bread and those places that you have mentioned. And so, Dr. Davis, I'm sure you are well of these programs. Your church and other folk that you know have participated in them.
Yes, we very much aware of those programs too, because we used to have the Maryland Food Bank. We used to have a truck and go pick up food and stuff from the Maryland Food Bank, and so we're very well of that. But since all this pandemic and everything can kind of slowed us down a little bit, but we still get out to different supermarkets that give away bread and stuff that's outdated. Now it's not outdated too bad. It's like almost a week to 5 days being outdated. So they just want to give it away and bring fresh food and fresh stuff in. So my wife and I, we do that quite a bit, and we try to do at least about twice a month, and take it to the church and take it to people that's in need of food. And so I'm thankful that things are still moving right along, because during the pandemic that we have, things kind of slowed down.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Well, let's, Mr. White, let's talk about your community involvement. I know we were trying to get to one of your events that you had a couple of weeks ago, where you did a march from a school and you ended up in Gwen Oak Park. Am I correct?
Oh, yeah, that's correct. Right.
Tell us about that.
That started, again, like you say, I'm a local photographer for a local newspaper. So I was at a couple of events. I went to a couple in Towson. I went to one in Randallstown High School, one in Catonsville. And I kind of live here in Pikesville, kind of right on the cusp of Woodlawn. So there I went again. I was saying, well, I've been to these marches all around, but they ought to have one in Woodlawn. And then a little voice said, remember, you are they. So I said, well, I said, why not? So what I did, with you guys are well aware, you have a network base that you can reach out to.
Right.
So I started calling people that I knew. I say, look, this is what I would like to do. I like to put it together, but I want the youth to run it. We just put it together for them, because I know they like to kind of gather in groups. They like talk and share what's on their mind.
Right.
But we need logistics out there. We need ice, water, snacks. So I got hold of a couple of fraternity and sororities, NAACP, and everybody wanted to help. And that's what I find, that there's really a shortage of leaders. We have a lot of followers, but it's good because once you take the lead on stuff, people will follow you. And then I contacted the community police liaison and let them know what I was trying to do. And they said, okay, well, bring us into it. That way we can give you police coverage to block the streets and all that good stuff.
Right.
And then I knew, since we were in Woodlawn, Woodlawn Park, as you guys are aware, has history within itself.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That's right.
So I said it would be a good idea if we kind of rallied at the Powhatan Elementary School. We would rally there, and then we would march down to Gwynn Oak Park. And that's kind of what we did. And you kind of reach out to your network. Right. And if it wasn't for the network, I really couldn't have pulled it off, because you got the banners and you got ice and water and snacks and all that. Then I reached out to our local school board, and they gave me some youth that I could contact that kind of ran the operation. Once we got them there, we kind of turned the reins over to them. Mm-hmm. What I did to get it started, I said, okay, if you're under 30, step to my right. And if you're over 30, step to my left. So once they did that, then I said, okay, now we are turning the reins over to you guys, because it's this is your time. This is your march. We're just going to be behind you. And we just kind of pulled it off that way. But it was very successful. We had a lot of people donated a lot of stuff. A lot of people spoke. You kind of encouraged the young people to speak, just to share what was on their mind. A few of the elected officials spoke, but mainly it was led by the youth.
Right. What encouragement would you give the youth, those persons who realize that something need to be done, but they are a little timid about getting involved? What encouragement would you offer to them?
Well, they could approach it a couple of ways. If most of them are spiritual, you're spiritual, and you have your praying time. You can, when things come to you, okay, whether you said, that second mind told me, the Spirit tells you to do things, you can kind of do it that way, or you can reach out to some of us to be a mentor and kind of encourage you along the way. But you need to find somebody that you can talk to. That way, when you get your ideas, we can kind of help you formulate them, to put them together and actually execute them. Because a lot of times the youth want to do things, they just don't know how. But don't give up. Mm-hmm. Just say, okay, well, just let me do it. It took me a while to get to that point myself. Just to give you an idea, I'm an early morning person. This time of night is late for me because I'm up about 3:30 in the morning. But it's but I tell people, when you wake up and you begin to get your thoughts together, whatever comes to you, as long as you're not hurting anybody, just do it. Don't ask, okay? Because just like when we had the march, we had probably 200 bottles of water left over from the march. That's how much water we had. So I said, now I know my wife and I can't drink all that water. So what I did, that it was on a Saturday. So that Monday, I loaded up the ice chest, took the ice chest up, took both ice chests down to Mondawmin, right there at the subway, Rice's Town of Liberty, took the coolers out, made some signs that said free water, and just gave out water till it was gone. But the Spirit told me to do that, so I just did it. Okay. So a lot of times you just kind of follow your thoughts. But the main thing I think a lot of youth need is just some type of mentor. And we're willing to share. We just want them to sit down and share what's on their minds with us. Plus, we'll meet them halfway. I know you guys will meet them halfway, just to share what's on your mind.
Dr. Davis and I have been involved in outreach and helping the community, not just with this organization or this live streaming talk show, but also other organizations that we have been a part of in the past. Um, and we're always doing what we can to try to help. Dr. Davis serves as the chairman of another organization that we have partnered with churches. There's 7 churches, and we're always out in the community, always trying to do things to help people that are, and this is not just for people that are less fortunate. There are some
Yeah.
people that are not as we would call in trouble or in need, but sometimes folk just need good guidance, like you said.
Oh
They
yeah,
need
that's true.
guidance. Some folk want to do something, but don't know who to turn to, don't know who to partner with, don't know who to join and connect with. And so we have tried to do as much as we can to stay connected and to offer ourselves to people who would need some guidance. Dr. Davis, you want to speak to that a little bit?
Yes, sir. We've been with quite a few groups that we set up, get things moving. One of them I know we did with 1 Hour to Live, and we tried to help young people, especially those who were uh, headed toward the crime scene or headed toward the gangs and stuff like that in the city of Baltimore. And so we uh, came together to help the 1 Hour to Live and brought youth together to look at a film where if you go to prison, this is what happens to your life. And by the grace of God, I do know that one of the young men at my church was thinking about dropping out. And he came to the show, he came to the thing. And by the grace of God, now he's graduated, he's working and everything. And so we're doing stuff like that to try to help these young folk. Because sometimes they can get off track and
Oh
they
yeah.
want somebody to talk to, they want somebody to help them, to guide them along the way. And so we try to do that. And that was one program. And then we with the Ecclesia United Fellowship, we try to help churches together, whereby they can pull together their sources, work together to do things in each one of their communities and what have you. So we try to get out there and do some things to help the community, because once again, I see a lot of young people who has good potentials, but yet they don't have nobody to like guide them along the way or to help them to understand what life is all about. And so we try to do things in that way. And Dr. Mason is one of the leaders, because once again, just a month or so ago, we did a drive. What was that, Mason? We did a drive rally.
Yes,
Um,
drive along.
Right.
huh?
We did the drive along, the peaceful drive along demonstration. Because of the pandemic, we didn't want to do a march because we wanted people to stay what we call physically distance. And so we did a drive along, and I think I sent that flyer to you, Mr. White, where we drove down through the
Oh
city,
yeah.
and we had that's when we had the casket, and we got down to City Hall and the courthouse and stuff, and took the casket out the hearse and put it in front of the building and knelt down and pray. And what we were trying to was to show and demonstrate was that the actions that are taken in these locations kills the dreams and the lives of people in our community.
Oh
And
yeah.
so we have been championing the cause about police reform, trying to bring awareness to it and help folk understand. Over the last 2 months, we have held 2 police reform town halls where we have had persons from both sides of the issue as part of the town hall. And you talked about the youth being involved. We have coming up in on next month. We have another town hall that is specifically for our young people. We're calling it the Town Hall 3, where the youth will speak. And that will take place on Sunday, September the 20th at 6 p.m. And we will have young people. Everybody that will be speaking will be uh, 30 and under. And they're going to speak and talk about issues that relate to them about this police reform. We realize that we cannot just have the conversation amongst ourselves, but we must involve our young people in on the conversation. And hopefully by the end of next week, we'll have all of our panelists confirmed. We do have our moderator who has already agreed. We're just trying to work out the final logistics on that. But so far, everything is coming into play because we want folk to understand that the lives of everyone matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. And
Oh, yeah. Amen.
we want people to understand that. So, Mr. White, you've been involved in the community. You're doing things. You are working with your church. You are working with, I believe, the NAACP, I believe, and other groups. Tell us about something that you may be having that's coming up as it relates to being involved and active in the community.
Well, with the police reform, we are part of. I don't know if you're familiar with. Well, Baltimore County, we have a councilman, Julian Jones,
Yes, sir.
and he's been spearheading police reform. So we've been behind that real heavy. We just had a Zoom council meeting, and which it was voted down, but it's going to come back up again.
Yes, I was a part of that meeting. I sat on it. It lasted for 6 hours and 10
Oh
minutes.
yeah. Oh man, but like you said, I like it because I tease a lot, I tell a lot of young people, I'm glad they're stepping up because the leaders that we had growing up, they wind up getting assassinated. So
Right.
now it's no one leader. Everybody can be a leader. So it's
That's
hard.
right.
You can't kill everybody. So
Well,
I like the way the different groups are coming in. But we are, like you say, we're working on the police reform. We're also, this is fairly recent, the U.S. mail, the post office. We are putting together now a movement to do a march at the post offices.
all right.
So that's coming in soon. Um, like you say, between it, and then we still, like with the homes that was part of the explosion, devastation. I've been part of that about every other day. Because
Okay.
once something happens, and you guys are aware of that, it's like I'm talking to the choir when I speak to you guys, but you guys zero right in on it. Because as soon as the
Right.
explosion happened, I say, okay, what can I do? And then I started reaching out to my church members, and they say, well, George, look, we'll get you some funds, and you go up there and find out what they need, and before you know it, I was going to Costco's. I bought like $150 worth of Gatorade and ice and all that. Took it down to them, but the funds came from church members.
Right.
People want
Right.
to help,
That's
and,
right.
and you know, people don't have a lot of money, but if everybody put in $1 or $2, $5, $10, then you can actually do things. You just need to find out what's needed, and that's when the groups kind of come together.
Well, like you said before, mainly what is needed is good leadership.
Good, true.
Good leadership. And what I continue to share with people is a good leader does not have to be a person that knows how to do everything. A good leader is a person that knows how to get everything done. And so the difference is you surround yourself with good people that can help you accomplish the task that you want to accomplish. And that's why I stay connected with Dr. Davis and other persons. And now we have connected with you. What I like to do and what I've been doing now for some time is forming partnerships. See, like you said, you don't have to have the total thing by yourself. When you have partnerships,
That's
Then
right.
you can take the total package and you say, well, what part can you do? And what part can you do? And what part can you do? And by the time you get through, everything will be accomplished. And sometimes you don't need a person to spearhead something. You just need somebody to be a part of the support staff.
Oh, yes.
You see
True.
what I'm saying? You know, everybody can't be out front, but you need somebody to be the background, to be the good support staff. And so that's what we've been trying to do, is partner with other people and other organizations. We have partnered with Councilman Julius Jones, as you stated. I actually live in his district. We was at his rally that he had at in Towson at the courthouse. We were there.
Oh, yeah.
We actually spoke at his rally, and we have been a part of. He actually was a part of our first town hall. So we have partnered with him. We partnered with the Greater Baltimore Urban League. Actually, the president, Miss Tiffany Majors, was our first moderator. In fact, they have something coming up, I believe, next week, where they have a town hall with young people. And we have already been in communication with her, and we're going to broadcast her town hall on our station here. We're going to do it. We're going to do it for them. We're going to broadcast it for them so that we can get it out and broadcast it, make it available on a wider scale. And that's really what it's all about. It's about partnering. It's about partnering and working with other people. The more people that we can get involved and gather to do some things, the better off we're going to be. Now, I'm not sure if you all have your dates already scheduled for the march for the post office, but if you don't, so that you get them, make sure you get that information to us so that we can be a part of that. And also, we're going to real soon be pulling individuals together to do some type of um, voter day drive. We're going to have to help get folks to the polls.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have to do some things, especially for early voting. Especially for early voting, we're going to have
Yeah, 8 days of that. That's all.
we're going to have to coordinate, especially with I'm looking at with some of our senior buildings, trying to get them to the polls. Some kind of way we're going to have to partner with other organizations and other people. I'm going to talk to the Baltimore County leader of the NAACP, Mr. Fugit, and find out what they're doing so that we can, because no sense of us overdoing some things if we can partner with someone else that's already got something in place. You know, my thing is, I don't have to be the lead on anything. I can do just as well being in the background. I think, Dr. Davis, you know, I like working in the background.
Yes, sir. You sure do. You sure do. He don't mind pushing folks in the front. He'll just stay in the back and push you along. But yeah, I agree with you. But now I'm in Pennsylvania, but in Maryland, are they doing the mail-in voting? Because we already got our papers up here for mail-in voting. And I don't know how they're doing it in Maryland.
Oh, yeah. Well, Maryland, you can still request them. They're not mailing them out. But you can go online and request a ballot, and you can fill it out and mail it back in, or you can show up and vote. And since we've been having so much trouble with the post office, I know most folks are going to show up, but you actually can go online and request a ballot.
Oh, okay.
Actually, mail it in, but they're not going to mail it out automatically like they used to.
Right. Right. Well, they sent us a form asking us, do we want mail-in ballot? And we told them yes. We sent it back, and so now they're sending out the form itself. Okay. So that's why I was saying that up here, Governor Wolf said it keeps spiking up. This coronavirus keeps spiking up, and he don't want to put people in jeopardy. So what he's trying to do is find out those that want to do the mail-in ballots can do it, and those that want to go to the thing and go to the proper
Polls.
places, yeah, the polls, they can do that.
Okay. And that appears to be the way it's going to work here.
Oh, okay.
But people are going to, it's just the idea. We are so used to ballots being mailed to us. We're not
Right.
used to requesting them to be mailed. So
Right.
that's the little ringer in there. But I think probably a high percentage of folks are just going to show up. And
Right. Okay.
even if you request them, people still going to show up and vote instead of putting it in the mail. Okay, because what I did, I actually requested one online just to go through the steps to see how many what process it was, so I could tell people what to do or how to do it if they wanted to receive one in the mail.
And you said you've already did it online, the request for the ballot?
Right, I actually requested it. And
how long ago did you request the ballot?
Probably about 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Have you received it yet?
No, not yet. Well, although they emailed me back and saying they got my information, so at least they're making contact.
Okay.
But I haven't received anything yet. But at least they acknowledge that they received my email and my request.
Well, that's one of the things that I am encouraging everyone to do, is to request absentee ballot. Request one, and even if you decide to go to the poll and vote yourself in person, you can tear that one up. However, if something happens and you're not able to go to the poll, at least you already have the mail-in, the absentee ballot, and you can submit that.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
If you wait past the deadline and you don't request an absentee ballot, and then something happens and you can't get to the poll on voting day, now you have missed the opportunity to vote altogether.
Yep, it was a few of them. I mean, you know how we work the polls on election day. And some people show up and the polls close, and then they say, "Dang, I can't get in line." No, the polls are closed. You know,
right?
So they kind of blow it. You know, they kind of miss it. But you're correct. Request it, and then that way you have options.
Because even if the polls are closed, you still can take your ballot to. They have several drop boxes.
The drop boxes, yes, correct.
And you can take it to the drop box location. And I believe they actually have a drop box location at the election board.
Yeah, that's true. They do.
Right outside the election board. Yeah. So if you can't get to the poll, you miss the poll, you can go directly to the election board and the drop box right outside. And you can put your ballot in that. But the key is you got to have a ballot.
Got to have a ballot.
That's right.
So I'm encouraging everybody, request an absentee ballot. Request an absentee ballot, everybody. And that way, when you get your ballot, you have the option to mail it in, or you can do what it takes. Right. I see some of our viewing audience have sent in a comment saying that they have ballots and will be willing to share what they have. And so if you are having an issue with getting a ballot, please, you can email us and we will do what we can to make sure that we get help to you or tell you how you can get your ballot. You can email us. Our email address is on the screen. Yes, let's talk about it. The number 1@gmail.com. Listen, as I have been sharing with people, this election is going to not just affect us. It's going to affect our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, because the decisions that will be made by the new administration, whether it's the same administration with new people or altogether new administration as a whole, when the history books are written and our descendants read about what happened years later, they're going to ask themselves the same question that descendants today are asking of their parent or their foreparents and members, how could they enslave people and do those kind of things to them that they did back then? And so even today, these descendants are feeling embarrassed, feeling ashamed because of what their family members did years ago.
Yeah.
And if you think that that's the only thing going on, the same thing is going to happen a few generations from now when our descendants are reading the history books about
Yeah.
post boxes, mailboxes being taken off the corners
Oh,
and
yeah.
sorting machines being removed from the post office at a time when they know they're going to have a spike in mail.
Yeah.
Not only
Yeah.
that, they're slowing mail down. Some people say they haven't gotten mail in a couple of weeks, some in a couple of days. People's checks are being held up. Veterans and the elderly, their medicine is being held up because the mail is not going through. And then I saw something in the news today where it says uh, over 4,000 chicks that have been sent through the mail. The chicks for new chickens, baby chicks,
Yeah. Oh, there.
showed up at the nursery dead because the post office didn't deliver them in the time that they were supposed to deliver them. And so now you're looking at a livestock that's being affected. You're looking at these nurseries that help to provide food for all of us. The ripple effect of what's going on in our community and in our nation, many people have no idea the ripple effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So true.
No idea, and so that's why I keep trying to tell folk we cannot afford to sit idly by and say, well, I don't think we ought to do nothing, or now is not the time. And so my question to you, if now is not the time, then when?
When? Yeah, that's true.
And if you
Oh,
say,
yeah.
let somebody else do it, not me. I say,
Yeah.
if not you, then who?
Then who?
And I like the little statement, the little phrase that you coined. You said that now, would you say, me is the we? Is that what
Yeah,
you said?
I say they ought to do something. Say, no, you are they.
You are they.
Yeah. That's
I like
right.
you are they. And so,
You are they. Like we try to encourage the young people to become election judges. There's a shortage of
Right.
election judges.
what
So
is the
become
age?
Right.
You have to be what? 18? It's 18 or
18,
18?
18 to be election judge.
18 to be election judge. And
And also, like you say, Ben, I'm also a member of the Baltimore County Democratic Central Committee.
okay.
Member there. So what they have done with us, and I think a lot of organizations have gone through the same thing, but the election board, they come out to our meetings
Mhm.
and they certify us to sign people up to vote.
Okay.
So I always tell people if you need somebody, if somebody needs to vote and they need an application, give me a call because I carry the applications in my bag. I come around and sign them up, give it to you. You can mail it in. We drop it in the mailbox.
Well, and that's good because just like you, I went down to the Board of Election and got certified, carry a card in my wallet that shows that I'm certified at all of our events. I make sure that I have a registration form so anybody that wants to register can register at any event that we have. Listen, it's all about us trying to be available and to provide as much as we can of a total package.
Yeah. We be that one. I always say that one-stop shop
Exactly, exactly. And
because
that's
some
what it's
they
all
just
about. That's,
like you mentioned earlier. A lot of folks just don't know. They don't know what to do. They want to do something. They just don't know what to do. So we make ourselves available to share with them. And like I have a saying, which is an old saying, but I'll teach you how to feed yourself. I won't feed you, but I'll share with you how to feed yourself. We know that came from our history a long time ago from the good book. But
Right.
we just share with folks just what to do. And I'm just kind of sad that libraries haven't reopened. You can still get books and order books online, and you can pick them up by way of curbside. But I used to meet a lot of the young people at the libraries,
Okay.
just to have classes with them, to share with them, because they have the little meeting rooms you can meet for free at the libraries.
Mm-hmm.
But since the virus, the libraries have been closed. So the only way we can reach out to folks is through mediums such as this, or maybe one or two that we can meet somewhere and just to share information with them.
Right.
But we just continue to do what we can do. That's all.
Well, one of the things that we always say is everybody can't do everything, but everyone can do something.
Correct. Yeah, that's true.
Dr. Davis?
Yes, sir. Well, I was just thinking about what y'all were just saying, and I have talked to a lot of people who did not vote 2016, and they were saying that they didn't think it was that important, and they were saying that so much was going on that they didn't think that this guy they put in would be that bad. And so I'm telling everybody, you got to understand this election here is very important. I heard Joe Biden say it's the soul of our nation. And we got to understand that we need to do things to make sure that our democracy is kept in order. So when I meet people and we talking, I'm always trying to find out where they stand, what's going on, and what have you. I had to go get my hearing aid, my ears tested on Monday, and the lady there was talking about Trump doing a fine job and all this stuff. And I wanted to know from her, in what way is he doing a fine job? And she said, well, seemed like he's doing a fine job because he's getting people money and he boosts the economy. And I said, baby, go back and check the record. Obama put stuff in place before he left. And he's riding on what Obama did. But he keeps talking about what Obama didn't do, that he wants Obama to look bad, and he's riding on his coattail. So she said, when you come back, I'm gonna let you know, because I gotta look at that. I said, look at it. And you tell me, yeah, you're right, Pastor Davis, you're right. I said, because once again, he was doing stuff that Obama had already put in place.
Yeah,
but
true.
He kept saying Obama didn't do this and Obama didn't do that, and Obama didn't have the cabinet or the material in the cabinet. I said, but Obama had already set everything up. And I said, baby, you're talking about a man who did stuff, and you saying he's doing a fine job. You come back and tell me when I come back to get my hearing aid, what fine job did he do? Because I want to know.
I heard that.
Well, Mr. White, one of the things we have talked about and continue to try to do is involve our young people. And so what we've started doing was on our show on the last Thursday of each month, we bring in young folk and we have them on the show. We call it Shining Stars.
Okay.
And we have them on. And so next week is our fourth Thursday, and we're going to have Rising Stars on our show. And it's amazing to hear some of the young folk, the conversations, talk, questions that they have, the interaction. And so we invite you to tune into us on next week, not just you, but all of our viewers and listeners. As we know that the pandemic is still running rampant, it is still affecting our community. It is still keeping school closed, and folk are having to do learning from home and through internet and all of that kind of stuff. Listen, we have to do what is necessary to remain safe, to keep our families safe, our neighbors. If you have to go out, make sure that you wear a mask. We know that you have to go to doctor's appointments, you have to go to the laundry, you have to go to the supermarket, you have to go other places. But listen, when you go out, make sure that you wear a mask and protect yourself. Once again, Mr. White, we're so happy to have you joining us. Any final words?
That's fine. Oh, but again, just thank you guys for inviting me, and to all the folks that are listening. Just remember, you can reach out to us, the people that's here, and your neighbors. Start in your community, just doing stuff. I mean, it's something that you can do. Go down the street, help out Miss Mabel. Go around the corner, help out Miss Johnson, and then you'll find out that you will wind up by default becoming a leader. And like I said before, there's a shortage of leaders. You have plenty of followers, but just step up, follow your mind and your heart, and you can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong.
Yep. Following that mind and your heart.
Well, we're
There
so
you go. That's right.
Dr. Davis, any final words?
Yes, sir. I just want to encourage Brother George White to keep doing what you're doing, my brother. You're about a good work. And I want to encourage you, and anything we can do to continue to help you along, don't hesitate to call. And once again, we'll be pushing you, and we want you to also push us if we continue to do the same thing.
Okay, good enough. All right, Dr. Davis and Reverend Mason.
All right. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining in with us, being a part of our show. You're certainly welcome. Keep us informed about the date for the rally as it relates to the post office, and we want to do what we can to be supportive in that event. Well, family and friends, it's been another good show, and we want to thank you for being a part and for helping us to do what we do. We know that it's not easy. We know it's not easy, and we take the time to do what is necessary. And for all of you that continue to watch us, be a part of our program, who invite other people and who share what we do, we want you to know we appreciate you. We appreciate all that you do and for the things that you do, for the encouragement that you offer. Until next week, when we will have Rising Stars being a part of our program, we say thank you